Hello everyone, welcome to the class of biotechnology. Today we are going to discuss about the structure and function of the cell. As you all know that cell is the basic unit of life. What does this mean? This means that cell is the structural and functional unit of human body. That so many cells when combined together they form a multiple or multi-complex organism, and that multi-complex organism is who? That organism is us. We humans are the eukaryotic multi-complex organism. So you can also say that cell is the fundamental unit of living organism. And if there is any cellular changes, then that change in the structure of the cell will further lead to the disruption of its function. And hence, if the function is disturbed, then there must be some progression of some disease, right? So if there is any cellular changes, then that cellular change may lead to diseased condition. Therefore, we should understand what is the basic function of cell, what is the basic structure of cell, and how the cell and structure are correlated with each other, right? Cell can grow, cell can divide, because as you know, we human beings, we are growing. Similarly, the cells are growing. As soon as the cells grow, we also grow at the same way. Cell can divide also, that a single cell can divide into two daughter cells, then two daughter cells further divide into four. In this way, cells, division of the cells goes on, right? And for the growth and the division, cells require nutrients, right? Cell requires nutrients. And at the same time, cells also releases waste, so to get itself healthy, right? Cells also responds to the local stimuli, that the effect of the temperature and pressure is also directly or indirectly correlated with the structure and the function of the cell. Or you can say the other markers or others environmental conditions will further affect the health of any cell. So if these things, growth, the growth of the cells or the division of the cells, or cell lacks nutrients in some other way, or due to any reason it is not able, maybe sometimes it happens that cell may not be able to release its waste out of the body, then and after that, if it not respond to particular stimuli, then the cell lost its function, right? If it does not acquire proper nutrients, then the growth of the cell may be affected, the division of the cells may be affected. It is very necessary that cells must divide, and if these conditions get affected, if these growth and divisions or the acquirement of the nutrients or the release of the waste or the response to the local stimuli gets affected, then due to these cellular changes, due to these changes in the cell environment, these changes may further responsible for the commencement of any disease. So to avoid diseased condition, our goal should be is to protect the cell from any unwanted activities, so that cells can grow easily and healthy, and it can easily divides the way they want. So to protect the cell from the outer environment, there is a membrane. That membrane is called cell membrane. This membrane is act as an interface between the internal environment of the cell and the outer environment of the cell. The outer environment of the cell contain a fluid called extracellular fluid. You can also call it as ACF. The outer environment of the cell is called extracellular fluid. And from this outer environment, cells can get nutrients, oxygens, hormones, waters, and so many other required materials. And in the form of waste at the same time, cells releases ammonia as a waste, carbon dioxides, and few other metabolic products into the extracellular fluid. And for doing these phenomena, these mechanisms, cells require ATP. Do you know what ATP is? Adenosine triphosphate. So to perform this function, cell requires ATP. This exchange, the taking of the nutrients or the oxygens from the extracellular fluids and the releasing of the ammonia and the carbon dioxides to the extracellular fluid, maintain the homeostatic balance of the cell. And the maintenance of this homeostatic balance is very important for the cell survival. And a small change in the exchange of these materials may also sometimes lead to the death of cells. So the balance is very important here. Balance of what? Balance of the exchange. Right? Balance is very important here. Cells consist of two main parts, that is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm carry the nucleus into it, and the second part is cell membrane. As you already know that cell membrane gives protection to the cell from the outer environment. There are several types of cells available in our body, and it depends upon the location, that where it is present. According to that, the shape and the function of the cells differs. You cannot see these cells with a naked eye. So for that you require microscope. This is how any animal cells look alike when you see through any microscope. Which type of microscope you are going to use? Light microscope or compound microscope, right? You can use light microscopes to visualize the structure of the cells. So you have already known that the cell consists of two main parts, that is the plasma. So the boundary, this portion that protects the cell from the outer environment is called as plasma, right? Similarly from this side also, the region, these regions are the plasma membrane. It surrounds the cells from all the sides. And the next is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the portion of the cells in which water, dissolved material, or you can say the cellular organelles are found. The fluid in which the organelles are suspended is called the cytosol. So these portions, right? These portions in which this organelle, these are the organelles, right? These organelle resides is called the cytoplasm. And the fluid or the liquid in which these organelles are suspended is called the cytosol. Small filaments and tubules make up the cytoskeleton. The portion ahead of the cells is called the apical surface, and that is behind is called the basal surface, or you can say the lower surface, right? And the portion this sides, these two sides are called the lateral surfaces. This is called the microvillus, and it is responsible to increase the surface area of the cells and helps in the absorption of the nutrients or whatever the liquids it requires, right? This small junction is called the desmosomes, and it is responsible to for the adhesion between the cells, that two cells can communicate by using desmosomes. This droplet like structure is called the fat droplets, and it stores the energy in the form of fats and lipids. This is a secretory vesicles. You can see this portion. This is called the secretory vesicles, and it recycles the waste materials. As I have already mentioned that cells removes the waste materials. So by using this vesicles, cell easily removes its waste material and maintains the cell integrity. The portion, this region, the blank you can see here, this portion is called the centrosomes, and it is responsible to regulate the cell division. Cells divide with the help of the centrosomes and centrioles. Centrioles also participate in the cell division. Another, this small granules like structure you can see here, this is a free ribosomes, and these ribosomes are membraneless, that they do not contain any membrane, and is the smallest organelle of size 25 nanometer, and is responsible for the production of the protein, or you can say the generation of the protein. Next, you must be aware that this is the nucleus. All the chromatin, DNA, RNA, whatever the genetic materials, all resides in the nucleus. The small ball look like structure here is called the nucleolus, and it consists of the chromosomes that contains DNA or proteins. Next, this nucleus is covered by the nuclear envelope. So to protect the nucleus from the other organelles or the fluids that is present in the cytoplasm. So it is a double membrane structure, and it contains the nuclear pores. These nuclear pores allow a selective movement of the material into the cells or out of the cells, like as the cell membranes do. For the cells, cell membranes also allow a selective movement of the fluids out of the cells or from the cells. Next, this one is the mitochondria. These are the mitochondria. It is a rod-shaped double membrane, and it stores chemical energy into the form of ATP. You are using ATP in balancing or maintaining the homeostatic condition, so that cell can easily take the nutrients out of the cells from the extracellular materials, and at the same time they can easily remove the unwanted materials. So for that, cells requires energy, and that energy is stored where? In the mitochondria. This portion, now this portion, this structure, this organelle is called the hemidesmosomes. Hemidesmosomes are small stud-like structure. You can see here, the structure is very small and stud-like, and that attaches the extracellular matrix to the keratinocytes in the skin epidermis. Here, the filament like looking structure, obviously called as microfilament. As you can see, the structure here looks like filament. So it is at a micro level, you can call it as a microfilament. It provides structure and support to the cell. Next, it is here you can say a web-like structure that is present at the terminal side of the cells. So you can call it as a terminal web. And it is responsible to maintain the cell polarity for nutrient uptake. It helps in uptake of the nutrients. Next, here you can see the vesicles are undergoing exocytosis. By the mechanism of exocytosis, these vesicles helps in removing the waste material out of the cells. So you can see here all the engulfed waste materials are getting out of the cells by the process of exocytosis. Next, Golgi vesicle. The green organelle here is called as Golgi vesicle. It participate actually in the transportation, sorting and modification of the proteins and lipids. Next is Golgi complex. This is the Golgi vesicles, right? And all together it forms a complex structure. This complex structure is called the Golgi complex, and it acts as a factory house. Again, all the vesicles combine together and helps in the transportation of the proteins. From where it transports the protein? It transports the protein that is received from the endoplasmic reticulum to the lysosomes. This blue colored organelle here is called as lysosomes, and lysosomes are vesicles filled with digestive enzymes. Means these digestive enzymes have ability to engulf foreign particles and hydrolyze these foreign particles, right? So if there is presence or by mistake if there is any unwanted material into the cells, then lysosomes can engulf those materials, and the digestive enzymes that is present inside the lysosomes can further hydrolyze these foreign materials, and in this way it protects the cells from damage. Sometimes old or non-functional organelles are also removed by lysosomes. This brown puzzle-like organelle, you can call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum, because it is almost you can say it looks like somewhat rough in structure, or ribosomes attached on it, and these are responsible for the production of the proteins for the transport, and these proteins and the materials are used inside the cells. This blue portion here represents the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and it produces especially the lipid components, and it helps in detoxifying the materials. Next, this one is the plasma membrane. We have already discussed about it. The plasma membrane is composed of hydrophilic and hydrophobic regions. The regions here that is inside embedded is called the hydrophobic. That means it it has a phobia towards the water, and this portion is hydrophilic, and these are water loving. Apart from this information, plasma membrane composed of glycolipids, cholesterol, carbohydrates, glycoproteins, globular proteins, alpha helix, channel proteins, peripheral proteins, and integral proteins. Integral proteins and these channel proteins are embedded here in this way so that it can allow the transport of the materials, that is the sodium or potassium, the ions from the outside to the inside or inside to the outside of the cells. So it acts as a selective transport membrane, and it is, as you can see here, hydrophobic and hydrophilic. So you can call it as a bilayer. And this phospholipid membrane, you can call it as a bilayer, and it helps in the maintenance and establishment of the electrochemical charge differentiation, and it allow the signals to pass, as I already told to you that it helps in the transportation or the maintenance of the ions across the membrane, that is the sodium potassium. It maintains the sodium potassium balance, and hence it allows the selective transportation. So this was all about the structure of the cells. In the next lecture we will see that how the cell divides in terms of the mitosis. Thank you so much for today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell.